what questions they had for you. So one of the questions that they had for you was, when is the book coming out?
This is a very good question, and I feel like I answer this sometimes in my inbox like almost every day, and I feel bad not to be able to give an exact date yet. But stay tuned, guys. The book Tales of a First Wife is coming out very soon, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And we're looking at a spring release date.
Woo.
So I'm hoping to give you an exact date maybe in the coming month or so. So just stay tuned and pray for me to get it all done by the spring, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And so if you're following me on Instagram at The First Wife, I will definitely... I'm always posting there, so I'll post an update as soon as I can get one for you guys.
As well as Facebook?
Facebook at Nawal Adamz. So just stay tuned, and thank you guys for your patience.
Is there going to be juicy details, like a lot more, obviously, than what you are posting on social media?
We have not even touched the surface, so I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek. There is a pregnancy involved. Let's just say that. So that's a sneak peek that will be in the book.
And then you tell me, and then this is why we have to talk about health. This is why we have to talk about STDs. Because if there's a pregnancy involved, these are things, and now there's babies. Oh, man, I can't wait for this book to come out.
Stay tuned for the book, inshallah. You'll find out all the details in there. There's so many things that I haven't even shared yet. I'll be releasing small snippets as we go. But that's a very juicy thing, don't you think?
Yes. I'm here for it. I can't wait for it to come out. My next question would be, and feel free to jump in anytime because I know you had a couple of questions, but my next question would be, is your husband older than you?
Yes, he's 5 years older than me, so I'm 25, he's 30.
He's 30. And do you think that do you think that had anything to do with this whole process? An older man will equal old school ways. I'm just assuming. I don't know where he grew up and his background and all that.
I think when you say older man, it makes it sound like he's 40. But no, I think it's more he's an old school thinking. Right. So I think that maybe something that contributed to his thinking.
Okay.
So definitely would say old school and cultural customs.
Yeah.
And what would you, I guess next question I'd have for you is what would you recommend to newlyweds, like, I guess, if this conversation were to come up?
You know, I think every marriage is different. Every situation is different. People in public, I don't think would be 100% honest. Like, if you put it right now a room of girls and ask them their true opinion, I don't think some of them would be honest with you. There are people who message me, honest to God, and they're like, I don't like the tone of your book because I feel like I chose polygamy and I don't like the way you're saying it. And I'm like, if you chose it, that's great for you. You know, if you're two consenting adults and this is the lifestyle that you chose and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it halal for you, you know, let nobody stand in your way.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just feel like the whole point of the reason why I wrote the book is I feel like it was not something that I was prepared for. It was not something that I wanted in my life.
Right.
And it's something that took me by surprise.
Right.
And I feel like people always use Islam as a scapegoat for situations like these.
Right.
You know, I have to, every day I feel like on Instagram I have to, like, defend myself from people who are like, it's halal, it's halal. I'm like, if I hear that one more time, nobody ever said it's haram.
And this is why I keep reiterating it to our viewers that we are not saying that it's haram whatsoever. We're just opening up this conversation as to what, where, and how. Right?
I think that the whole point of my book is, I feel like for men, their argument is halal. But for women, I feel like nobody discusses what the women go through because emotionally it's traumatizing. As a nursing student, I've seen Somali women in hospital with depression and like other mental health issues because their husband was married to another woman for X amount of years and they just found out. Wow. And that's not Islamic, you know what I mean, to do that. And I feel like women need to know their rights in Islam before we jump on the bandwagon supporting men. Oh, it's halal for them. Oh, it's halal for them? Great. But also, what's your rights in this situation?
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
I would lose I'm not lying to you guys. This is why I'm so passionate about it. As much as some people may think I have a hard exterior, I would lose I chose to marry you. You were the love of my life. I love everything about you. I want you to myself. And then if you choose to marry another woman, which is fine, but behind my back, don't take choices away from people.
But even if a guy does it, you know, behind your back, he tells you about, like my husband told me about it, like 2 days before he got married. People actually told me, you're lucky he told you. And to me, I feel like whether he did it behind my back or whether he told me 2 days before, in a way, it didn't make a difference in a sense because it's like, well, it's not like Joseph.
Is there women that have inboxed you?
Yes,
That's another question.
100%.
Is there
Yeah,
women that have inboxed you
Yes.
that has said, "Honey, you're lucky because what happened to them?" Like, has there been?
There's one specific girl. She told me, she's like, "You are lucky he called you 2 days before," and she even asked me, she's like, "Why didn't you go to Edmonton? Why didn't you do something to stop him?" You know what I mean? She's like,
Right.
because her situation was, she found out 6 years later when her husband had a child with this other woman, and she saw a kid that looks literally like her son. You know how some kids, some siblings have strong features. Swear to God. And she says she saw him at Eid prayer, and she pulled the kid aside, and she's like, "Hey, what's your name? What's your mom?" Like, she was shocked. Like, imagine you're a mother and you see a kid that looks just like your mom. Curiosity, right? And she followed the kid, and then she sees her husband. And when I was reading it, I'm like thinking, you know, I should say Alhamdulillah, right? Because compared to that, I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Lies and deception. It goes back to that. Where do you draw the line? 6 years. 6 years. Your kids don't even know that they have siblings. How is this? How is this allowed? Like, there has to be a line where you know, yes, it's permissible, but again, it goes back to the health reasons. 6 years of unprotected sex. Like, guys,
I feel like forget that even. It's in Islam, if it's like, if something is halal and it's pure to you, why hide it? And why only follow the parts of Islam that suit you?
Right.
You know what I mean? And what's wrong with being honest? Like, if you're a man enough to go and marry another woman, be man enough to also tell your wife, this is what I did.
Right.
Forget her reaction for now, you know?
Yeah.
Just at least tell her. She deserves that much, you know what I mean?
Don't take choices away.
And if she chooses to stay or leave, that's her choice.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes in Somali community too, we put a burden on women. Like, for example, like, people told me, oh, if you had kids, we would have told you just to, like, sabr with it.
Yeah.
That's great advice to some people, but I feel like you cannot just say, oh, if you had kids, just sabr. You know what I mean?
Yo, if you look at her comments on Instagram, the word sabr is overused. Like, sabr. It's an answer to everything. Like, forget your feelings. Sabr.
I do believe sabr is. There is reward for people who do have who sabr in this dunya for things. You never know. I feel like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does test people differently.
Yes.
So and if this is your test and you somehow sabr and you pass your test, I do think you'll get something better out of it. But that's a choice that the person should make on their own. Not something that you tell them sabr, like, you know, push them to that choice. Yeah. Let the person go through, like, let the woman deal with it how she feels is best for her. Right. And I feel like, if for the main purpose of the reason why I wrote the book, I feel like a lot of women, as you can see from the comments too.
Okay, so that's the other question. Why did you write this book? Everybody thinks that you want fame, you want money. I think you should get your coins because of this experience. Take a negative, turn it into a positive. What's your reason?
Is it part of the process?
Let me tell you why I wrote the book. I used to journal, and every day I used to put like I had a little diary. I used to write journals, and I started writing it on my computer.
Right.
And I remember I would call my best friend. I mentioned her on Instagram, Nadine. I would always tell her, girl, this would happen today. Because a lot of crazy stuff happened after he got married. Right. And she would be like, I can't take this anymore. Just put it all in a book and send it to me, you know, because it was intense. Yeah. So, and when I was going through my situation, I'm 25. I've never seen or heard of another girl, like, in my age range who went through something like that. Yeah. So we're surprised here. Yeah. So like, here I am.
We've been living in a bubble. I did not know this was a problem.
Me too. So here I am writing my book, thinking, well, if there's another, young girl out there somehow, my age, she can read it and benefit from it, right? Right. And now, as soon as I post it on Instagram, I get all these messages from so many girls, and I make it a point to ask them sometimes how old they are if they don't mention it. Yeah. And I've gotten girls as young as like 22, and I'm like, and I always ask them, I'm like, can I ask your ethnicity about, like, are you Somali?
Yeah, that's the other question. Yeah. Is this a problem? Like, okay, in Pakistan, there's a problem with men throwing acid in their wives' faces. Subhanallah, that's not even a joke, but that is a problem in Pakistan and India and that region, right? Yeah. Okay, my question is this an epidemic in the Somali community, or is this happening everywhere?
I think it happens everywhere, and there's different levels to it. Right. There's, like, Somali community, they have their, men, for example, we gave the truck driver example, men who just work, out of town, out of city, getting married, doing whatever. And then there's men, a lot of sisters who are, like, new reverts to Islam. Right. you know, if you're new to Islam and then you just pick up the Quran, and then I feel like some of them get taken advantage of, because some men will be like, hey, you're a Muslim now, guess what, in Islam I can have 4 wives, and then, you know, what is she gonna say?
Yeah.
You know, and then they get married and he gets 4 wives. One girl actually told me her husband told her, he sat down with her and he's like, I'm gonna get a second wife, and he told her like a month in advance.
Oh, great.
And so she has like a few kids with him. So she's like, I love him, I don't want to leave him, let's see, maybe I can, you know, sabr for him. So he would sit in the house and, you know, search online on Muslim dating sites for other women in the house while his wife was like sitting in the living room. And I feel like that's so disrespectful and so distasteful.
I can't. Like, how are you like, where how am I supposed to be okay with this, man? But like, how?
Exactly. So I feel like men think that Islam is only for them, or it supports only them. You know what I mean? And it's because women don't.
Not all men. That's like a
not all men, obviously. But
and guys, we want to hear from you. Where's this line drawn? We understand the deen, and we're not going against it, but there has to be a line drawn. And then we'll wrap it up. This is like one of my other questions are, what happens next? Can you share that with us? What, where? Who, what, where? Like, are we moving to Edmonton? Are we we gonna snatch some wigs? Are we gonna fight her? Because I'm ready to fight. You just let me know.
There will be no fighting. I'm not moving to Edmonton. Staying in Toronto.
Okay.
Just focusing on my school for now.
Inshallah, mashallah, that's wonderful.
And you know, I have no problem with her.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, the shaitan just tries to push me towards. Did try to push me, I guess, towards her to fight. And naturally, I feel like women, we have this bad disease of like always going against each other.
I know.
Like
And I don't want to be that type of woman, but it's instinct to. I just want to let you guys know that I would be the pettiest second wife. Pettiest. You understand? I am.
Why would you be petty when you're the second one?
Oh wait, did I say second? Awkward. Wait. First, I don't even know where I am. I mean, I'm going to be the pettiest first wife. Like, subhanallah, may Allah never test me in this nature. But if it happens, I'm slashing tires. You know? Like, every day I'm just sabotaging something.
But see, that's just way too much energy and effort. Man. And, you know, anger on your part.
I know.
And, you know, the more crazy things you do, the nicer she looks.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And men being so naive sometimes.
Yeah.
He's
going to get rid of me.
She was already crazy. Look at her.
SubhanAllah.
That's bad. I knew it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, listen, Nawal, I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much. All right, well...